Welcome to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here with us today. Look, if you've ever stared at a ticker tape and just felt totally overwhelmed by that sheer volume of data zooming by, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to build a blueprint, kind of like a whiteboard session, to completely demystify the mechanics, the tools, and the platforms of the stock market. We're relying strictly on structured, actionable data from our source materials so we can just cut right through all the noise. Let's jump right in. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our agenda for The Explainer. First, mastering market basics. 2, mapping global exchanges. 3, essential tools. 4, picking a platform. And 5, practice before you profit. We're breaking this massive topic down into a super manageable, logical 5-step blueprint.
You know, the market is so often portrayed as this totally exclusive, VIP-only Wall Street club. But the real secret? It's actually incredibly accessible if you just have the right map. So are you ready to master the market? But hey, before we get into the actual mechanics, let's just take a second to establish the absolute mind-boggling scale of these top global players. I mean, look at this. The New York Stock Exchange sits at a staggering $25.6 trillion in market capitalization. To put that into perspective for you, that's literally larger than the GDP of most nations on Earth. The Nasdaq isn't far behind at all at $23.1 trillion, and the London Stock Exchange holds a very solid $4.3 trillion. These numbers represent the very pulse of the global economy, and it shows you exactly why understanding this ecosystem is so incredibly valuable. All right, moving right along to step 1, mastering the market basics. It's totally crucial to learn the language before you jump in. According to our data, finding a structured beginner course is really your absolute best first step. A good curriculum pieces this giant puzzle together for you. It starts with the big picture, like how exchanges actually impact the global economy. And then it equips you with the everyday terminology, things like IPOs, short selling, limit orders. And then it teaches you how to apply that vocabulary using technical analysis. Finally, it helps you figure out your actual trading strategy. You know, whether you prefer the fast-paced adrenaline of day trading or maybe the slower patience of swing trading. Platforms like Udemy are super popular for beginners because they give you these great expert-taught entry points into all of this. Okay, step 2, mapping the global exchanges. Let's zoom out and survey the actual landscape of where trading happens. Now, modern financial markets basically operate on a split, and this brilliantly illustrates that divide. On one hand, we have centralized exchanges. These are your traditional, highly regulated markets where buyers and sellers meet through a strict central authority. Think of the big ones like the NYSE or even local ones like the ASX or TSE. But then, on the flip side, we have decentralized exchanges. Platforms like Binance or Coinbase represent this massive shift. They offer peer-to-peer digital asset trading entirely without a central authority. And what that means is it places a whole lot more freedom and control directly into the hands of the users.
But wait, there's actually a third category you definitely need to know about. Because you see, not everything happens on those giant, highly visible exchanges. This brings us to over-the-counter, or OTC markets. These are informal, direct party-to-party trades. They're usually used for assets that are less liquid or super niche. And the really important thing to remember here is that they operate with far less regulation since there's no central exchange acting as the middleman. It's a pretty vital piece of the overall global market puzzle.
All right, let's zoom back in from the macro landscape to step 3, essential tools of the trade. These are what traders use every single day. So, your absolute first, foremost analytical tool is going to be the candlestick chart. Think of it kind of like checking the weather radar before a long trip. It doesn't just show you the current price, it visualizes the whole journey over a specific set period. It maps out the open, the close, the high, and the low. It is arguably the most powerful way out there to visualize market trends and try to predict future movements. Now, in contrast to the super detailed candlestick, the line chart kind of just cuts right through the noise. It's a simpler alternative that just connects closing prices over time with a single, continuous line. It's great for a quick glance at the trend. Getting familiar with this repetitive definition structure builds up your technical vocabulary. Plus, platforms like TradingView are phenomenal places to start practicing how to read both of these chart types. Let's move to and see how this builds into step 4, picking your trading platform. We know the tools, now we just need a place to actually use them. Well, before you commit anywhere, you really need to run any platforms or educational courses through a strict credibility filter. You want to look for course content that actually scales, takes you from the absolute basics all the way to advanced strategies. Make sure it's led by instructors with a real, proven track record. You can verify this by checking out actual student reviews and testimonials. And honestly, prioritize platforms that offer verifiable certifications. Checking these boxes ensures you are getting credible, expert guidance.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that when we evaluate these launchpads, some clear leaders emerge. Light Finance tops the list with a 4.7 for its fast execution as an ECN broker. Then you've got IC Markets and XTB coming in super strong for their low spreads and fantastic free educational materials. Now, if you're mixing crypto with your traditional stocks, Binance ranks highly, whereas AvaTrade really shines when it comes to global regulation and offering those demo accounts. And of course, traditional powerhouses like TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, and RoboForex are also incredibly solid, beginner-friendly options. The real key here is just matching a platform's key features to your own specific learning style.
Okay, finally, step 5, practice before you profit. This is the ultimate, crucial safety net of our explainer journey.
So the crucial point is you literally do not need to spend money to learn how to make money. You just follow this simple, free loop to build your confidence. Step 1, read free tutorials on platforms like Investopedia or Coursera. Step 2, go watch some free expert video lessons on YouTube or Udemy to see how it's actually applied. And step 3, practice safely in virtual simulators like TradingView or MoneyBuy. These environments let you experience the total thrill of the market and test your strategies without ever risking a single real dollar. So, we've mapped out the entire blueprint together, from the trillions of dollars moving on those global exchanges, right down to the candlestick charts and the specific platforms you need to execute. The tools are free, the simulators are just waiting for you, and the knowledge is totally accessible. So, in a market that literally never stops moving, what will be your first educational move?